Welcome in, everyone, to the Voice of College Football late night on National Signing Day. And first and foremost, my apologies on the studio setup and the technical aspect. I will explain that in just a second, but it's great to see everybody here. Thank you for your patience. I scheduled this for 12:45. I was looking to download a clip from Jimbo Fisher to show everyone that I found rather it was amusing. It is amusing, but it's also foundational to what's going on in college football right now. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg of what could become a war of words and maybe even beyond that among coaches across the country who are either pointing out possible transgressions or who are jealous or who want to get the upper hand in some way. So, welcome into the Voice of College Football. And again, what happened here is I wanted to show this Jimbo Fisher news conference clip. I downloaded it to my aging laptop here just to test it out. I was not able to download it. For some reason, it wouldn't download, and I couldn't get it to go on my mini Mac that I use for my regular camera configuration. So to be able to show this clip, I've got to go off my laptop. So hopefully I can't use my mic. I can't use anything else, my regular camera or mic. So hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Hopefully, let me know in the chat. We've got all sorts of comments coming in from Roger Dodger. Roger Dodger. And we've got Steve's on the line. We've got Navy Thomas up late tonight. Navy Thomas, we usually don't get you for a live stream, so it is great to see you. So before we listen to Jimbo Fisher and Lane Kiffin strike blows here, I want to recognize everybody who's in the chat tonight because I thought that this needed to be addressed, and it also is just interesting and amusing to be addressed as well. Mr. HD, hey Mark, it was a great day for Miami minus Shamar Stewart, but we move on. Everybody that's interested in Miami recruiting, catch our show tonight on National Signing Day on the Miami channel with Cam Underwood. Excellent viewing, as well as our other shows today with Oklahoma, Florida State, and Michigan. We will have to address the Michigan situation in Jim Harbaugh. If we don't get to it tonight, we certainly will on Thursday. On Thursday, we've got our Ohio State show at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to be up bright and early. I was actually thinking about doing a live stream bright and early in the morning before the Ohio State live stream to clear up the Jim Harbaugh saga that we last discussed during the Michigan show from 5 to 6 Eastern today on the Michigan channel. We had Steve Dace come on. That was very nice to see him pop by and discuss the Jim Harbaugh saga, the soap opera surrounding Jim Harbaugh, the Minnesota Vikings, and Michigan. All seems to be just hunky-dory in Ann Arbor, and they have opened up their arms and received Jim Harbaugh, the wayward son, back home where he belongs, apparently. So we will need to address that at some point, of course. And so we'll see if I can get up early enough to strike the live stream and discuss that with all of you before we dive into Ohio State football at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we've got reports coming out tomorrow involving Georgia's National Signing Day, Clemson, Minnesota, Michigan. So a lot of good stuff there. Roger Dodger. Dig it in here. Is Harbaugh the next Viking coach? Apparently not. Apparently he went to Minneapolis today. He did. And they either turned him down or he turned them down. That we'll never find out from him. Steve says Texas A&M still have the boy cheerleaders who look like 1950s milkmen. Oh, man. Navy Thomas is here. Okay. Anything else? Lone Wolf, good to see all of you here at the Voice of College Football. So this is what Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss head coach, said today in a very, I guess he said this in a yahoo.com story. This didn't necessarily, there's no video of this, I guess. In talking about recruiting, Lane Kiffin said, "We don't have the same funding and resources as some of these schools do to do these NIL deals." That I would argue. Anyway, Kiffin said in a Yahoo.com story, quote, "It's basically like dealing with different salary caps. We now have a sport that has completely different salary caps, and some of these schools are 5 or 10 times more than everybody else of what they can pay these players." I know nobody uses those phrases, but that is what it is. I joked the other day that I didn't know if Texas A&M was going to incur a luxury tax and how much they paid for their signing class. So I will then follow this statement up from Lane Kiffin with what Jimbo Fisher stated during his news conference today. And so are you all ready to listen to this from Jimbo Fisher? Hopefully this plays for all of us to hear. So this is Jimbo Fisher in response to Kiffin saying basically various schools have different funding resources. Some have 5, 10 times as much money as everybody else. I joked the other day that I didn't know if Texas A&M was going to incur a luxury tax in how much they paid for their signing class. So here is Jimbo Fisher's response.
A slap in the face or whatever when there's these thoughts out there that it's because a lot of money is being spent, and just your thoughts.
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. This is because here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no 10. This is garbage, okay? And it pisses me off that people, and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet, it's gospel. How irresponsible is that? I'm going to tell you, there's some very reputable writers in college football and sports that wrote it and have said it and have done things. That's unbelievable to me. When I first heard it, I laughed. I said, "Oh yeah, what a clown." I mean, I didn't even think anything of it because I don't have social media. And it kept building, and lately I've heard more about it. To me, it's insulting to the players that we recruited that's why they would come here. You ever been to a game here? You ever come to school here and see the education? You ever talk about the 12th man, the Aggie Network when you're done? There ain't a better university in this country. And it's insulting to what you say. And all these, and we got writers who have said it and done it off Sliced Bread. A guy named Slice who made it up. Love to see who Sliced Bread is and put it out there with Sliced Bread. Let me find out where it comes from. And then to have coaches in our league and across this league to say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guy's griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off. The other thing, when you look at vice president, I get another one. Vice president of Notre Dame. Supposed to be a reputable university, right? That's a heck of a person leading a reputable university. I'd be real proud if I hired that guy. Read it off Sliced Bread. But they say it because it's written on the internet. We worry about the kids and social media and internet. How about grown-ups? How about the guys that are supposed to be setting an example? How about writers who are supposed to be writing the right thing? How about coaches who are supposed to be doing the right thing? And I'll tell you what, I know how some of those guys recruit too. Go dig into that. I know the history, I know the tradition, I know things. Trust me, you don't want to go down that avenue. It's ridiculous, and it's irresponsible, and it's unbelievable. I ain't just talking about one. Multiple people got NIL issues. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't doing all them big deals. Ain't none on our place that we know of. That's funny when you do it. It's hypocrite. And then we gripe about the transfer portal, and you guys take more than everybody. What's about that? And what goes on? The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we worked, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If you don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. All right? We ain't going nowhere. It's an absolute joke that people put the hard work in and do it. It's irresponsible, but it's funny when they get it, it's all okay. Ball games are changing, man. And it ain't because of NIL and what goes on. It's pretty irresponsible of all of them. They're clowns.
So I don't know what your response to that is. Lane Kiffin taking his shots across the bow, and then Jimbo Fisher firing back. But I gotta say that I really can't fault anything Jimbo Fisher has to say, because what do we know? What do we really know about what's going on out there? We don't have a whole lot of knowledge of what's going on and what kind of money is being paid out by whom. Okay, Texas and Texas A&M are taking all the shots from everybody concerning NIL. Seems as though Texas A&M and Texas are taking the shots from everyone that they are paying the exorbitant amounts all over the place, and they are just showing up at players' homes with truckloads of money. Okay. If that were the case, then they would have the best recruiting classes by far. They would be 1 and 2 in the recruiting rankings, and everybody else wouldn't even come close. So we can't necessarily completely take what Jimbo Fisher says as gospel truth, that he throws up his hands and says, not that he stated we're not paying anyone, but just basically said NIL is something that's here and we don't really have a fund and anything like that. Well, we know that everybody's involved in it. And to his point, this was an accepted thing when Bryce Young, it was announced that he was being paid $800,000 to $1 million for an NIL deal. Nobody had an issue with that. But for some reason, so let me back up a second, because the two major issues I've had in all of this to start. So back on July 1st of last year was the first year of NIL. And to take a page from Nick Saban's line at SEC Media Days, he said, don't ask me about NIL because it's only been going for 2 weeks and I have no idea where this is going, what it's going to look like. Ask me in a year. But because of what we do here in trying to make sense of all this and trying to discuss and contemplate and figure out what it could look like, I had all sorts of theories, and I readily stated after every theory, this could be exactly the way it goes, or it could be the exact opposite. So my two concerns about NIL right out of the gate were, number one, that instead of student athletes choosing their college destination, as they have for the entirety of college athletics, chosen their college destination for all the right reasons, most of the time for the right reasons, choosing their college destination, and then NIL deals being presented to them once they are enrolled and signed and are part of the football program, that the NIL deals would come to them as high school athletes. That I don't like, that I don't agree with, that I think it could be legislated against. Could it be enforced? I think it, just like NCAA violations of any sort throughout the decades, it would be spotty. But at least programs would risk having serious issues if it was determined you put together an NIL deal for a high school athlete. I think the decision to enroll at a school, sign with a school, play football there, needs to happen before the NIL deals. If that can be legislated and enforced, and I doubt that it can be enforced in every situation, but a lot of people would be caught. Okay, so that's my first concern that I had right out of the gate last July, was NIL deals affecting recruiting and affecting the destination of players before they ever played a snap of college football. Number two, that instead of schools directly paying the players, which is illegal against the rules, that they would sweeten the pot and circumvent that money through NIL deals, and they would pay the players that way. So those were my two concerns. Well, what Jimbo Fisher is talking about right here and what Lane Kiffin is accusing Texas A&M of, and what is being reported out there by credible or less than credible sources speaks to the first issue that I have. So that's come true apparently. We got Mel Kiper here. Mel, man, I've been a fan for many years. Good to have you here. Lane Kiffin does not want the smoke. Roger Dodger's still here with us. To me, to believe in NIL deals is to believe all players on the roster got millions. And I see that super chat. I will get to it in just a second. Thank you so much for that. Jay Shipes. Mark Rogers, do you see boosters ready to pick up late recruits when they have a full scholarship class of recruits using NIL to get those last-minute key targets? Okay, so if I'm following your question, you're saying that the scholarship limit's been reached. There are no more scholarships to give, but the boosters are going to go after late recruits. I don't see where the boosters would be any more involved for late recruits than they would through the entire recruiting process. Super chat coming in. Appreciate that from Star Trek Elysium. Do we really know anything about NIL? Is this information available? Seems to be fandom is creating drama. Okay. This is what I know. And I'm not an NIL expert by any stretch, number one. I am not even an NIL interested party. I only follow it. If I was a fan like any of you, I wouldn't even listen to any of it. I'd be like, wake me up on September 1st and I'll watch football. But of course, I've got to keep track of it to a certain extent. So it's funny how, to your point, Star Trek, there's only been a few deals. Bo Nix and the Lemonade Place is the only one that I can think of where we can put together a player and match them with an NIL offer. What I thought the NIL offers would look like back before this ever started, and when it first started, was that we would know that the Iowa State quarterback, Brock Purdy, got a deal with some jeans manufacturer, and he was going to model them on his Instagram account, or he was going to talk about them during his weekly podcast and get paid for that, of course. I'm not seeing the work that's being done by the athletes. It just looks like gift money. Name, image, and likeness. Yes, that's not hard work, but at least you put in the work as a football player, and it's work in that you are trading your value as an athlete through name, image, and likeness in exchange for payment. I'm not seeing where this looks like gift money. This is the issue that I'm having with this right now. So I'm not understanding something. NIL, going back to the very, I will say at least modern origin of this, or example, would be Johnny Manziel. So we know the deal with Johnny Manziel. When this really started to get rolling, at least in terms of the conversation in sports, was that Johnny Manziel was apprehended by the NCAA for signing autographs, I believe, in Florida. And what ended up happening was that he was suspended for the first half of the opener. And they didn't come out and say that he was guilty or not guilty. They just suspended him for a half and didn't say anything else. But as it turned out, I think it's pretty obvious that Johnny Manziel made money in exchange for some autographs. It was probably pretty minimal. Who knows? And the NCAA caught wind of this. They probably came to some kind of an agreement with somebody around Texas A&M to say, hey, we'll suspend him for a half of a meaningless game, and that's going to be the scare tactic, and that's going to sound out the warning. And but it really wasn't that big a deal. So anyway, that got the conversation started. So at that point, I was fully on board with athletes profiting, benefiting from their name, image, and likeness. What is name, image, and likeness? To me, that means that you can put your name on a jersey and sell it as a Johnny Manziel Texas A&M #2 jersey, and Johnny Manziel gets 30% of the profits. That college football players can show up at Joe Blow's laundromat or at the car dealership and sign autographs and make money. That they can advertise, such and such jeans, or Bo Nix, the lemonade company, and put their name on a product. So are they really doing much work? No, but technically they are. They're benefiting. So there's at least an exchange, because the whole deal is that student athletes have not been able to, full scholarship student athletes have not been able to go out and get a job to earn money, which is basically not fair. So this is a way that they are profiting from their celebrity and being paid for it. So at least it's providing a service or goods, name, image, likeness, for money. But I'm not seeing this exchange. Am I missing something here? I'm not seeing the exchange. This is gift money. Michael is asking, has Michigan decided to jump into paying major money to athletes? Okay. If what is being reported, and it could be completely erroneous, just like Jimbo Fisher alluded to, or it could be close, or it could be a guess. If Texas A&M and others are paying athletes and Michigan's still able to get a top 10 recruiting class in the nation, there's no way that they're not paying somebody. I just can't imagine that is possible. Yes, exploring with Ben, still the busted glasses. Yes, we have yet to make any calls to pick up the vision insurance, which I need to do. Yeah, exploring with Ben, I could use some sleep, but man, this just hit me, and I kept going back and forth on whether I would go live concerning this, but it seemed like it was going to be a big story and something that, again, I find it amusing, but I find it to be maybe just the tip of the iceberg. You have Lane Kiffin, and we know Lane Kiffin's not like any other coach, or few are like him that are going to say something this stupid. And I think it is stupid of Lane Kiffin to make stupid comments. I just think it's idiotic for him to make jealousy kind of statements. And then Jimbo Fisher responds, and he's pissed off. And some will take either side. Of course, the certain fan bases will line up on their particular side, even though if their coach did what the other coach did, they would line up on to back them. But for all of us neutral folks, you can pick a side. Is Lane Kiffin right in calling out Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M? Is there something that he possibly knows that nobody else does, or that is being assumed, or that is being taken as truth? It's being reported as Jimbo Fisher, sliced bread. Who is that? I don't know. I don't know if they're reputable or not. With a name like Sliced Bread, I kind of think not, but why judge them by the name? So, yeah, we're going raw tonight, Roger Dodger. I wanted to be able to play that clip. The only way we could do it is off of this ancient 7-year-old laptop. So yes, so that's what the deal is, Eric. I wanted to play this Jimbo Fisher clip that I played at the beginning. So we had to go old school and ugly off the laptop. There you go, to real MVP. Has anyone seen any advertisement from NIL? And yes, I will be going live and taking calls here in the next few days. So we will get all of your opinions on Jim Harbaugh on National Signing Day with a lot of big recruits coming in. And of course, this war of words between Jimbo and Lane Kiffin. Let's see. Yes, I misplaced or threw away the long list of names that signed today. You know, even though 90-some% of the classes were signed and the players were signed back in December, it's still a big day in recruiting. So Miami came up with 3 big commits. We talked about them in the Miami show. Georgia with a couple big commits, Clemson as well. So stay tuned. We've got segments coming in the next few days with Penn State and hang on just a second, with Penn State and others. Penn State, Clemson, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama. Connor Johnson says JT Daniels to Oregon State. Wow. Okay. Where could they use JT Daniels? Iowa. Who is Brock Purdy's replacement at Iowa State? Iowa State? How about TCU? How about Stanford? The ACC and the Big Ten are going to be quarterback strong this year. The ACC, of course, loses Sam Howell, but that's about it. DJ's back. Devin Leary's back at NC State. Kenny Pickett's gone, but Keaton Slovis comes in and takes over for him. The ACC stacked at quarterback. For as bad as the ACC is overall, stacked at quarterback, but JT Daniels to Oregon State. Michael is asking, do you think we will see regulation on the amount of money a school can give athletes to level the playing field? I don't know how that's legal or American to limit it. So this is not a business like the NFL. The NFL can put a cap on its athletes because the cap is directly tied to revenue. So in order to run a business, just like any corporation or any business, they pay the individuals based on what their value is in the marketplace, but also based on how much money the business makes. So the NFL has a salary cap and other sports have salary caps because they tie the amount of money that is budgeted for the players to the amount of revenue. So let's say the league brings in $1 billion, and to use very simple, easy math, the league brings in $1 billion, and the salary cap structure says we give the athletes 50%, then they get $500 million. So there's your salary cap divided by the 30 teams, and that's what the salary cap is. But in college football, how do you, that would be like saying, somebody coming in and saying, Mark, we're going to limit how much money you can make on YouTube. Now, YouTube can do that as a private business, obviously, to say, we're only making so much money, therefore we can only pay our creators X number of dollars. That makes sense. Again, that's within the business structure. But like the government It shouldn't. It's un-American, and I am adamantly against the government coming in and limiting the amount of money that somebody can make. It should be a free market system, and see that's the deal here. Is unless the NCAA or whatever the organization is wants to encapsulate all of college football and make it a business and pull everyone together, and therefore Vanderbilt and Alabama and Ohio State and Rutgers, and I'm taking the top and the bottoms of these leagues, Oklahoma and Kansas, etc., want to share money and be a business, then that's possible. But as it stands right now, how is it in any way a free market or capitalism to limit the amount of money that if a ton of rich Texas A&M boosters want to pay athletes, this cap we're going to put on it is based on what? We just don't want them making that much money? Is that really a good reason? And who's to say what's too much money? Whatever's too much money to you may not be too much money to me, or too much money to Roger Dodger or to Davey Thomas. So salary caps are based on business structures. There's no business structure here. The business is all coming outside of college football. Eric, Mark, how did signing day go for Ohio State? There was really no signing day for Ohio State. Everything was wrapped up. They've got the fourth ranked class in the country. Jay asking about second most 5 stars. Yes, they had the second most 5 stars this past season. Yeah. There is a list on 247 Sports called their team talent rankings. You can go look it up. This past season for 2021, it was Georgia 19, Ohio State 16, Alabama 14. I believe that was the rundown. Oh, I think I know Kyle's in the house. Appreciate that. No trolling from Kyle. Of course not. I hope nobody was calling Kyle a troll. Come on. So do you guys have a side in this? Jimbo Fisher versus Lane Kiffin? On the surface, for me, Jimbo's in the right, Lane Kiffin's in the wrong. On the surface. Again, as has been stated in the chat, and I completely agree, we don't know much about NIL and what's going on. And like I've said for months and months and months from the beginning of time of this NIL era, I want to know, where is the trade? Where is the goods and services that are being produced by the athletes for their wages? I'm not seeing that. This is gift money. Yeah, Jimbo seems to be right because number one, there's no rules. Number two, Texas A&M can't be the only ones doing it. Now, somebody might be jealous that they collected the most money and are giving out the most money. Somebody can be jealous about that, but who's to say who's allowed to give the most money or not give the most money? So if you're all playing the game, like if let's say Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, let's say they collected $5 million for their athletes, and Texas A&M collected $30 million. It's completely hypocritical just to get mad about the process because your school doesn't have as much money as some other school and don't have those resources. Roger Dodger says, in the end, NIL money will be based on state economies like USC chances. State economies. Well, it's private money. So Jimbo's the same guy who's supposed to have a 12th man, but chickened out of his bowl game because his quarterback left him. Yeah, I really think what needs to happen, and hopefully we're past this with COVID, but COVID is still with us and maybe a way of life and what it is. And I think completely overblown. But regardless, why are the teams themselves determining whether they can play or not? Why wouldn't we have COVID guidelines to say, okay, if you've got this many players affected at this many positions, and as long as you've got X number of position players available, and you can cover all your positions, regardless of whether it's if you've got 5 quarterbacks on the roster and the first 2, your first and second team quarterbacks are down, too bad. You've got 3 quarterbacks, so you can play. So that's the issue that I've had with this entire COVID situation, is that the teams themselves determining we can play, we can't play, oh, we're down X number of players, therefore we don't want to play and suffer a loss. Well, you know what? You got enough players, and they're on scholarship or they're on the roster, therefore they're eligible to play. That's the reason they're on the roster, is to play football and to be backups. That's what backups are. So yeah, I don't agree with that. And I don't know if that was the case with Texas A&M. But, LSU, in a day and age of 85 scholarships, had 38 scholarship players for their bowl game, and they went ahead and played. Good to see Kyle here tonight. Appreciate you being here, man. That oil be pumping out the ground daily in Texas. Money, 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 money. Yes. You got it. You got it. Texas A&M dodged Ole Miss last year. Texas A&M played Ole Miss last year. Am I missing something there? Ole Miss beat Texas A&M. Traveling fools. Yo, 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 yo. So how did our National Signing Day turn out? Let me make sure we're not missing anything. So again, everybody, we had a Miami live stream today, Oklahoma, Michigan, and Florida State. We've got Ohio State tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And then I went live at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon to update everybody on the signings. So let's see where we stand. And if there's anybody else that came in today. The last Power 5 signee, man, a lot of activity out of Air Force and Coastal Carolina and Louisiana and Hawaii. Anyway, the last Power 5, speak of the devil, the last Power 5 player to sign was safety Jacoby Matthews, Texas A&M. Jacoby Matthews, Texas A&M safety, second-rated safety in the country. Texas A&M. Oh, my word. Second-rated safety in the country. Another Texas A&M signing today. Third-rated player in the state of Louisiana. 38th rated player in the country. Jacoby Matthews, Texas A&M. So he's the latest. Cavante Henry. Interesting case here. So Harbaugh is apparently staying at Michigan, which I don't know if I necessarily understand Michigan there, that they would let him parade around the country and make them look like fools that are just going to take him back whenever he's ready. We'll take you back, Jimmy. Whenever you want to, go talk to the Dolphins, talk to the Raiders. Take a trip to Minnesota on National Signing Day. That's okay. That's okay, Jimmy. We're here. We're going to open up and embrace everything, whatever. We're the leftovers. That's okay. We'll take you. Don't get it. Regardless, Devontae Henry was committed to Michigan heading into National Signing Day. He's an edge rusher out of California. He decommitted from Michigan, signed with Oklahoma. He said, I want no part of this mess at Michigan. I'm going to Oklahoma. So Devontae Henry signs with OU. Dave Iuli. This was a big commit and a big announcement late in the day. So Dave Iuli is an interior offensive lineman, the 10th rated guard center in the country, number 188, number 3 player in the state of Washington. He signed with Oregon. So Oregon gets the big commit there. And so those are the latest. Again, Devontae Henry decommits from Michigan, signs with Oklahoma. Jacoby Matthews, 2nd rated safety in the country, signs with Texas A&M. And then Oregon gets Dave Iuli, top 10 guard center in the country from the state of Washington, to Oregon. So I will have to post some videos on our team channels there on those. Real MVP, how come nobody asked when Jimbo is going to win big games constantly or consistently, possibly? He's only had one good season at A&M. Well, when you're recruiting like this, you get more time. Oh, exploring with Ben, let's do that. Well, do I have that listed here? So everybody, here's the deal. I think I've got it here. First of all, hit the like button. Let's see if I can find that. Hang on just a second there, Ben. Hang on just a second. I believe I do. There it is. If you'd like to send me a helmet. I know a lot of Georgia fans. I know a lot of Nebraska fans. Nebraska fans and Georgia fans are probably the most that have said, Mark, get our helmets up there. So there's where you send them. Care of Mark Rogers. That's me. You don't have to say the voice of college football. They're just catching on down at the P.O. Box place. So 15 South Main Street, number 1007. Mark Rogers, 15 South Main Street, number 1007. Beautiful Torrington, Connecticut. Our neighboring city here, 06790. So there you go. If you want to send me a helmet, send it there. Subscribe to our West Virginia channel as well. And we will have a live stream from West Virginia with Golden Blue Dude on Friday. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. Kyle Pickett. Beautiful. Thank you so much for the contribution. Appreciate that so much. I'm giving you enough to get new glasses. It's time. Even with YouTube taking money out. Okay. Kyle, I can get my own glasses. I appreciate the contributions. Please don't contribute for the new glasses. I will get to that when I get to it. But I got no dental or no vision right now. I got to take care of that, and I will get on that at some point. The Texas A&M helmet is on its way, according to Tony. Tony, thank you so much. Is that part of the NIL deal? Did Texas A&M with the $30 million add on like $28 for the helmet? And for anyone such as Tony here who sends in a helmet, I will display that helmet proudly wherever you want it. Wherever you want it, Tony. When that Texas A&M helmet shows up, we will display it proudly wherever you want it for 30 days. And the only exception is going to be when we have a video or a live stream for a particular team. Like when Miami, we just did the Miami show tonight, and I tend to, if I think about it, I try to present the team that we're talking about. But otherwise, we will display your helmet wherever you would like it for at least a month. How many Oregon helmets will you display? Well, Oregon does have some selections, don't they? I think we'll start with one. As many as we can fit. So we got a nice large table here, or semi-large table. We got a desk here, and we got 3 shelves, and maybe I'll just have to back up the camera. Maybe we'll just stack them all over the place. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Exploring with Ben. Me and Eric going to load up those Oregon helmets on your shelves. All right. Have we talked about Harbaugh yet? Jose, we have not. So, do we get into this now? Oh my goodness. I'm going to talk to Justin Rowe, our guy from Blue by 90 podcast tomorrow. So we've got to record tomorrow at noon Eastern. Maybe I should make that a live stream. I'll see how much time Justin has. We can make that a live stream. Maybe. What do we get into there with Harbaugh? My goodness, I'm talked out on Harbaugh, and it was all having to do with him going to the Vikings. So I will say this, first and foremost, in regards to our coverage here, my defense for our coverage here, I do not like that we did a live stream last night reporting that Jim Harbaugh was taking the Minnesota Vikings job, and then that turned out not to be the case. Here's the deal. We're not, as the voice of college football. So for some of you, I'm the voice of college football, but we are all the voice of college football. We all got a voice here, and our platform is the voice of college football. You've got a voice. I've got a voice. Our guests have a voice. So we are all the voice of college football. Okay. So I'm not a news agency. We're not a news agency. So I do not report the news. It would be stupid for me as one person to try to report news, because once it's reported, everybody knows it in 3 minutes. So it's the internet, and everybody's going to know the news anyway. Our job is to analyze, discuss, debate, break it down, try to bring some analysis to it, hopefully have fun, and break it down. You guys know what the deal is here. Break it down from all angles. The numbers, the analytics, the history, the whatever is involved. So a number of people contacted me last night. I was doing, I think, a Nebraska live stream that Harbaugh was going to Minnesota. So I looked it up a bunch of places. I saw it at, first and foremost, the Wolverine. And then it was also reported at NBC Sports and On 3, which I believe is the ESPN. No. That is the former Rivals platform, I think. So anyway. And so that's probably the Wolverine connected to On 3. And then Yahoo Sports and NBC Sports confirmed, or at least parroted, the original report. So I went on and simply said, this is the report. I'm not reporting it. I'm not telling you it's truth, but it's out there, and it's being reported by what we believe to be reputable sources. And so then we proceeded from there with our breakdown and analysis of Harbaugh's decision, of Michigan's decision, of possible replacements. So that's how we That's how we approach all of that. Another ask here while we're at it is I am trying to get as accurate a count as possible on our fan base for the various college football teams. So here on the main channel, I would love to know out of 33,000 subscribers, and a lot of you who watch on a regular basis but don't subscribe, I wish you would. I would ask that you would subscribe. But if you watch on a regular basis, I want to know who you root for. It would be phenomenal if I got 33,000 subscribers to all respond, and then I would know exactly that we've got 9% Ohio State fans and 2% West Virginia fans and 13% Oklahoma fans, and whatever the distribution is. That's what I would love to know. That would help me to create content. So please hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. So this is for sponsorship as well. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. But specifically, let me know who you root for by sending me just a line. Some people have just said, hey, Mark, I root for Penn State. That's the end of it. Other people have written me paragraphs. Hey, if you want to write me a paragraph, tell me how you became an Ohio State fan or a Michigan fan or why, and give me your life story if you want to. I enjoy reading your various stories and backgrounds. But if you just want to say, Mark, I'm a Stanford fan, great. We have not had any Stanford fans respond yet. But hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Rob, you can't be serious. I got you, Rob. I got you, Rob. You're saying this situation is just like another Herbie saying Les Miles will be the Michigan coach. Well, apparently the difference there would be that Herb Street was right. That's what Les Miles wanted. That's what Michigan wanted, but it fell apart, and partially because it got out there. Roger Dodger says, with Minnesota interviewing someone else for hours yesterday, should have been a red flag for you, Mark. I understand that, but I'm not the one reporting it. So, if we can verify some type of, it's like the Tom Brady retirement announcement that came from a bunch of other sources. Well, it wasn't from him, but that did not stop ESPN and the NFL Network and everybody else talking about him like he was retired. Eric has created a bunch of artificial accounts to send in and inflate the Oregon numbers. And because of that, I will be producing nothing but Oregon videos about 3 months from now. Yeah, I guess so, AMAC. The sliced bread must be the go-to. Mark, I know you're impartial to a fault, maybe. But who do you quietly root for in each conference in the NFL? Oh, in these conference championship games? I was rooting for the Packers. Now, was I upset that they lost? No, I was not upset. Didn't sway me much. But I like to watch Aaron Rodgers play. I think he's great. I've always enjoyed his style of play. I just love the NFL, but I'm not rooting. I'm going to root for, again, When I say root, I mean if the team loses, I won't think twice about it. But I'm going to go with the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. Something about the Rams, I guess there's too many, they've accumulated too many stars through free agency. I like the Bengals story. I like that they were 4-12 last year. Joe Burrow. They got 3 Buckeyes on defense, Sam Hubbard, Eli Apple, and Von Bell. So I'm pulling for the Bengals. I'm not a cheesehead. So on Thursday, we got Minnesota segment, Clemson, Georgia, Michigan. We've got the Ohio State live show. We've got an Oregon segment late. And Penn State coming up on Thursday. We've got the Miami show on Thursday at 8 Eastern, hopefully with a wholesome one. All right. I just wanted to address Jimbo Fisher, and if you missed it, I played the clip off the top. This would be a historic day at the Voice of College Football. It's the first time I've played a clip, and it may be a while before I play another one because I could only get it to download on this laptop. Therefore, that's why you're seeing me without a mic and on the grainy laptop camera. And I know that most of you like us to do call-in shows, and I do as well. We will do call-in shows very soon. We will be doing more call-in shows by the weekend. Okay? Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. It will be displayed again exactly where you want it. Is there anything that you guys want a series on next? Bye, Kyle. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. We just wrapped up the series where I ran through each conference with my conference analysis and my rating and ranking. Keep in mind, if we can get that Big Ten video, I put it on the Big Ten channel, the Ohio State channel, the Michigan channel, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, and the main channel on all the channels. If we can get it to 10,000 views, then that I will take the time to review all the numbers, compare all the conferences in so many different ways, and all that. So if we can get that to 10,000 views, that would be phenomenal. The next series I wanted to do was I did produce a video. Don't know if you guys saw it with my 12 Heisman. No. Did I do that? Yes, I did. The 12 Heisman favorites. My 12 Heisman favorites. And then I've got a list of dark horses. So I guess we're also going to head toward our scheduling system. So that series is going to come out with my schedule system, both in conference and out of conference. I'm going to wait until after spring practice, and then I'm going to rate and rank every position in college football, a top 10 on every position, top 10 quarterbacks in college football, top 10 running backs, top 10 offensive linemen, etc. Eric wants a video on rivalries. I am always fascinated when you start talking football that I was not around for. Rivalries. What about rivalries? You want me to do videos on rivalries? So, Eric, I appreciate that request. Jim, let's not go there, please. You're going to have me. Justin, appreciate you being here. Got to run. See you around, Mark. God bless. Thank you for that, Justin. I appreciate it. Videos on rivalries. So I guess I would need a little bit more on that. Something that I was thinking about doing, but I would have to pull together the right guests, would be to have, let's say, a debate on DBU. Who's DBU? Florida, LSU, Ohio State, Miami. Who's DBU? Well, I would bring on guests from all those teams, and we would debate DBU. Wide receiver U. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State. Who is it? Oklahoma. Who is it? We bring on guests from all those teams and debate it. Okay, the real MVP. Video ranking on the new head coaches from best to worst. Okay. That I will do. That I will do. What's all this? These are all my Heisman notes. Very nice. And then, okay. All right, so I like that. New head coaches best to worst. I'm going to put that somewhere. I'm not going to forget it. Thanks, Connor. How I would run a college football program. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go back to the ranking of the head coaches. That's a lot of coaches, actually. With a group of 5 in there too. Okay, I like that. We'll do that. My draft. I'm certainly going to send out a video with my top 10 non-conference games of 2022. Best non-conference matchups, my top 10. And my under-the-radar games. I did that last year. Eric, so I appreciate your request, but see where I tend to do better there. You guys may not agree, but where I do best with questions like that is when something happens, and then I'm able to say, okay, no. This is the way it should have been handled. They should have done this, then they should have done that. They should have reviewed this, then they should have did. But man, just to say how I would run a college football program is a bit difficult. I just saw a comment come in from, there it is, Elvis Nation. Oh, love it. Good to see you, Brent. Mark, burning the midnight oil, the most dedicated post on YouTube. After you, my friend. After you. I am next in line. Power 5 sleepers to compete for conference titles in 22. Okay. Sleeper teams. I like that. I like that one too, Connor. Sleeper teams. Top 10 conference games. What was the other one you guys threw out? Oh, the real MVP. Rate the coaching hires. Sleeper teams. Ooh, I love that. And I'm going to give you real sleeper teams. Like Michigan's not a sleeper team, or Texas A&M's not a sleeper team. You know, Rob, do you know that you're quoting a song there? I don't like that song, but it's still one by EP. Oregon State, Tennessee. Sure, okay. Well, I'm going to throw mine out. The ultimate sleeper thrown out by Spaghetti Factory, of course, the Jayhawks. Okay. So what I have for my next line of series sleeper teams, I have top 10 non-conference games for 2022. I've got rating the coaching hires. I've got the top 10 conference games in each conference. I've got to unveil how I would fix conference scheduling. I've got to unveil how I would fix non-conference scheduling. So I've done that in the past, but I'm going to freshen up those videos because most of you have not seen those, because I used to produce that when I had like 13 subscribers. So we'll get back on that. My playoff system, of course, and my Heisman dark horses, although I don't know that many people watched my Heisman video. Playoff format. Okay. Rank the best stadiums? I don't think anybody cares about that, Connor. And I've only been to a few myself. I've only been to Ohio Stadium, the Georgia Dome, Alabama, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, the Liberty Bowl. That's about it. The top, oh, that would denounce, see, that would cause some angst. Some people would be mighty upset with me if I tried to rank the most passionate fan bases. Man, you know what? It seems like college football is a long ways away, and it is. But once I start working on stuff like this is what passes the time, because I will never have enough time, because you guys know with all these team channels that I am basically, anytime there are commits or transfer portal moves or coaching changes, that I'm doing a bunch of videos and live streams on all that stuff, just trying to keep up with the news. Because the other thing I wanted to do this off season was I wanted to rank the programs all time. I wanted to come up with a system that included winning percentage, national championships, conference championships, etc., and make an all-time rankings system. I wanted to rank the programs all time. I don't know if you guys are interested in that. You guys want an all-time, or do you want like a since 2000 or since 1970? I have not been to LSU. Yeah, wouldn't that be something, Roger Dodger? So I would need to take my show on the road. So I would need to be able to do live streams or videos at the drop of the hat. I would need to be able to stop and get out, or just from while I'm sailing down the highway, be able to do live streams. So I got to be working all the time. There's got to be work done at any point. Aaron says since 1950, kind of like that, because I think I would come up with maybe a descending scale of like national championships. So we can't give Harvard a zillion points for winning national championships in 1870, the real MVP. So it's kind of difficult for me to come up with most disappointing teams in 2022. They haven't played yet. I don't know who's disappointing yet. Roger Dodger thinks USC is number one all time. Aaron says Oklahoma. Rob J, like since 1950. Why 1950? You guys are just picking out a year. See, I'm going to criticize you a little bit. I'm going to get on you guys because you guys know the deal is you can't pass anything past me without me thinking about it, and I'm going to jump on you if I don't think it makes sense. I just think that's an arbitrary year. Why 1950? Just because it's a round number. That's why you picked it. There's nothing that happened in 1950 that makes 1950 any more valid than 1949. True? True. Eric, actually, that makes the most sense. After desegregation, at least, let's be fair. So, like 1970, and even that, I know it's not the perfect year because desegregation happened in waves, but at least that kind of hits it. Eric says since 2000, since the BCS, since the relevance. Eric, you're hurting me as a 1980s and 90s college football guy. You're hurting me with that comment about relevance. Jet Max says 1950 college got back to normal after the war. Okay, the war ended in 1945. So if I could come up with a system, what would be beautiful is if I could come up with a system, put it in a spreadsheet, and I could spit out or enter any year. So I could do all time. Then I could do 1950. I could do 1970. I could do 2000. And then I could do a different video and give you a different list for each one because, of course, it's going to be different for each era. And I really need to get on Patreon. For anybody that follows us on Patreon, I'm going to get on over there and we're going to do a live stream soon. And we're going to talk about what's going to be offered there on Patreon. Hopefully I get some help on that Friday. I've got a specific endeavor and plan for Patreon, but I don't know how to do it. So exploring with Ben, I respect your opinion, but you understand it's just your opinion. You just kind of threw out 9 to 10 wins makes you relevant. Why that is, I don't know. For me, okay, relevant. Who's relevant? So up until just a few weeks ago, I was hearing from tons of college football fans that Georgia was not relevant because they had not won a national championship since 1980. Well, I think that's ridiculous, but if that's your criteria, then who is relevant? There's only 3 schools that have won national championships since like 2015. So who's relevant if you're counting just national championships? So for me, relevant is more or less, do you consistently compete for your conference championship? So in the Big Ten, Ohio State's obviously relevant. Michigan, they of course are right this second, but they got to continue to do it. So there has to be some consistency. They have yet to prove that. Just jumping up and winning one Big Ten championship, okay, I'll put the hold on Michigan. But for right this second, sure, they won the Big Ten. Wisconsin, they compete for the Big Ten title. It's been since Wisconsin last won the league in 2012. And actually that one was tainted. Iowa, Penn State kind of do. In the SEC, is Texas A&M relevant? They've never won the conference. They've been in the conference for 10 years. They've never won it. They didn't win the Big 12 going back to 1998. So how relevant is Texas A&M? Are they just suddenly relevant because they've got this ridiculous load of talent? Is Oklahoma State considered relevant? Well, they were this season, but they generally don't seriously compete for the Big 12 championship. Aaron, absolutely. Georgia was a 10-win team consistently with Mark Richt. They finished in 15 years there. He finished in the top 10, 8 out of 15 years. Spaghetti Factory, you know I love you, but I don't know what that means. I don't know. That just seems like a random number. Like there's 25 programs that matter. 25? Is it exactly 25 or is it 22? Or is it 27? Since the recruits have been alive. Connor says, I vote we do these late night streams regularly, but make them Pac-12 after dark. So we're going to talk Pac-12, and I'm going to have how many people on here? 8? I'm strictly talking Pac-12. It's going to be the Voice of College Football Pac-12 after dark. Okay, Spaghetti Factory, here's the list. Here's Spaghetti Factory's list of who's relevant. This must be all time. It can't be right now. Anyway, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Miami, Florida State, Clemson, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Iowa / Wisconsin. Iowa some of the time, and Wisconsin some of the time. Okay. Utah, Notre Dame, that's, wow. You can poke holes in that list all day. Miami's been winning 55% of its games for the last 15 years. They've not won a conference championship. Think about this. Think about this. I ran these numbers before last season. I ran these numbers and I posted a video on the Miami channel, and the Miami fans, to their credit, they took the medicine well. But I said, how relevant is your program? Here's your winning percentage since 2005. I laid it out there. It was like 57%. And then I said, these programs have as good or better winning percentage than you. Georgia Tech, Kansas State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of schools that you wouldn't want to hear if you're a Miami fan have better winning percentages since 2005 than you do. Next, you haven't won a conference championship since 2002? Okay, it's been 20 years since you won a conference championship. Yeah. Next, get this number, people. Are you listening? Since the last time Miami finished in the top 10 in the country at the end of the year, there have been 43 other schools finish in the top 10. 43. Okay. So we know only a few of those have been Power 5 teams, or have been Group of 5 teams. You know, Cincinnati, Houston, Boise State on occasion. Okay. So about 5 of them. So about 38 have been Power 5 teams. There's 5 Power 5 conferences. So think about that. That's 7 to 8 teams per Power 5 conference. Per conference, 7 to 8 teams per conference. So the majority of each conference has finished in the top 10, in the final AP top 10 since Miami did. So like in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Indiana, Northwestern, Iowa, Wisconsin, have all finished in the top 10 since Miami last finished in the top 10. In the ACC, Miami's own conference, Clemson. I don't know about NC State. Florida State, of course. North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Pitt, have all finished in the top 10 since the last time Miami finished in the top 10. So, Spaghetti Factor, I was just going with the biggest programs in each conference with history. So, that's okay for you to say that, and if that's where you're going with that, just understand, like, you have no real metric. It's just kind of arbitrary. Rob J, I believe that Mario will turn the U around. I think he's in the process of doing that. Relevance is not about winning. Relevance is not about winning. Do I need to read that one more time? Maybe I'm missing something. Relevance is not about winning. Yet, if we all listed our own personal list of who's relevant in college football, what would the one consistency be? They all have high winning percentages. You're not relevant without winning. Maybe not right now or today, but you had to win sometime. Okay. Spaghetti Factory. Nebraska is relevant and hasn't had a winning season in many moons. Okay. Understand. Okay. If you're talking like a championship winning season, yeah, it's been since 1999. If you're talking about going to a conference championship game, that would be 2012. And then if you're talking about just having a winning season, 2016. So yes, you are right. Nebraska is not winning. Okay, is Nebraska relevant? It's debatable. Is Alabama relevant? Okay, that's not debatable under any measurement. If Alabama's not relevant, nobody's relevant. Is Ohio State relevant? Yes, they're. So we understand that unless we had somebody in here in this discussion who's a complete moron, who has no perspective on anything, then basically we can all agree on about 4 or 5 programs being relevant for sure. Okay. Then we would start to get to some programs where we would have differences. Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas A&M, Florida. Some of us would be stricter with our requirements of who's relevant. Others would be, no, Texas A&M's really good. Number 1 recruiting class, they're relevant. People care about them. People watch them. They're relevant. Okay. Nebraska, I'm not saying that they're not relevant, but I'm saying that's a highly debatable statement. Depends on your definition of relevancy. And you have a historic slant on it. So since Nebraska was relevant on the field, so understand, Spaghetti Factory, Nebraska is not relevant on the field. Not at all. They are not relevant. They haven't been relevant for at least a decade. They haven't been relevant since they played in back-to-back Big 12 championship games at the end of their Big 12 run against Oklahoma and Texas in 2009 and 2010. That's the last time on the field, based on my evaluation, Nebraska has been relevant on the field. Nationally, they haven't been relevant for longer than that, 20 years. But at least they were playing in Big 12 championship games in 2009 and 10. So you cannot debate that they're not relevant on the field. That can't be debated. They're not relevant. They suck. They suck. They're horrible and have been for 4 or 5 years. Okay. And even before that, they were marginal. They were bowl worthy. Okay. So you're basing that completely on tradition. So it's still based on winning. You're still basing this on winning. When you say winning's not relevant, you did base this on winning because they had to have all won to be relevant. You're basing Nebraska's relevancy on them winning in the past, right? Right. So it is based on winning. So is Army relevant? When did they stop being relevant? They used to win national championships. They have a great tradition. We're going to measure relevance based on revenue. Okay? Based on revenue. The real MVP would argue that Army's more relevant right now than Miami. Well, they might have a better football team. They certainly have better results the last few years. Exploring with Ben. Well, let's understand this. Exploring with Ben. So your laugh out loud, I'm going to take a little more seriously than that because I respect and thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your service. I put Army, Navy, and Air Force in a different category. What they do is they are basically playing college football at an extremely high level, which is astounding to me that they can do that when they have much greater responsibilities and priorities. So that's phenomenal beyond belief to me. That they can go out and play the schedules that they do against major competition and be competitive is astounding to me. Jim says a team cannot be relevant if nobody watches them on TV. Okay, I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying that's just another way to look at it. Well, obviously, when you say nobody, everybody is watched by someone. So what's your cutoff point? Like what's a high TV draw and what's not. You know, I may do a series on TV ratings in college football. I found a site that has the TV ratings for every week of every season. I hope I can find it again. Okay. Well, I got to tell all of you that I am about tapped out. I am toast right now. So, first and foremost, I want to know who you root for. So please hit me up right here. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Just let me know who you root for. And I would love to know how long you've been watching the channel and would like to know anything else about you that you want to share. But first and foremost, who you root for, send that to MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Also, for small businesses out there in particular, not that I am against sponsoring large businesses. If you're Dick's Sporting Goods, if I am speaking somewhere out there to the executive of business marketing at Dick's Sporting Goods, sponsor us here at the Voice of College Football. This has to be one of the best places to become a partner as a sponsor because you know exactly who you're talking to. You're talking to college football fans. So if you sell college football gear, so I can let you know how many people watch, how long they watch, how many subscribers we have, how many we're gaining, all that here at the Voice of College Football. So if you've got a small business or large business, you can benefit from sponsoring here at the Voice of College Football. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail, and we'll start there, and we'll set up a phone call. Otherwise, again, favorite team, send to MarkRogersTV at Gmail. I would love to get an accurate count of our viewer fan bases. Helmets, send them to Mark Rogers at 15 South Main Street, number 1007, Torrington, Connecticut at 06790. We're going to be here on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with Ohio State Buckeyes Live. 8 o'clock at night Eastern, Miami Live. And I got a bunch of records during the day on National Signing Day. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Again, give me those emails on your favorite football team. And would love to get a sponsor here at the Voice of College Football. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail.